Yeah, okay, okay. Yep, okay. Anytime I keep hearing the same thing over and over again and it is dead wrong, then my head goes, that's a good idea for a video, boy. And I go to my head, yeah, that is a good idea for video. Um, this notion, and I keep hearing this stuff over and over again, that FX lenses are more expensive than DX lenses. It depends on which way you look at that. Actually, either way you look at it, that's total BS. FX lenses are not more expensive than DX lenses. Now you could say, well, that $15,000 400 millimeter is pretty expensive. That's not a comparison, okay? Those lenses have never been made by anybody for DX cameras, okay? So we're not talking about the really insane crap. We're talking about mid-range zooms, portrait lenses, portraitures. Yeah, that road trip took it out of me more than I thought. FX lenses are not more expensive than DX lenses. Just the opposite is the case. You see, there are decades and decades and decades of FX lenses. We used to call those 35mm film lenses, i.e. full frame. There are tons of them, and they're dirt cheap. I mean, there's some awesome tonnage of full frame. Yeah, I keep hearing this stuff over and over again, and not only is it not true, just the opposite is true. Just the damn opposite. So, yeah, I know it's okay. People don't know stuff. That's all right. It's okay not to know. Just don't become entrenched in the stuff that you think you know, but you really don't know, which is technically wrong and just absolutely bass-backwards. So it's okay not to know. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It'll be all right. I'll give you a white bunny rabbit to pet. But no, FX lenses are not more expensive than DX lenses. Just the opposite. Nikon current manufacturer makes 75 FX lenses and 25 DX lenses. All of Nikon's DX lenses are crap, really. I would never recommend them except for like 4 of them. The 17 to 55 2.8, which is basically everywhere used for $600 basically, or less. It's a true silent wave motor. It's a fast-ass autofocus. It's made in Japan. It's made right. I've got 2 of them. The 10.5mm fisheye, that's great even on FX, using crop mode. When it comes to fisheye, there ain't nothing wrong with sticking a DX lens on an FX camera and shooting in FX crop mode on an FX camera. Now, that's also the best way to go for fisheye, great fisheye lens for full frame, because a fisheye 16mm FX lens is basically $1,000. Get the 10 point. You can find that lens used all day long for like $350. So yeah, no. There's one example of an FX lens actually being more expensive than a DX lens, but that's one example. However, if you were to buy like an old 16mm fisheye, which you don't need autofocus on a damn fisheye anyway, those lenses are still cheaper than the 10.5mm DX 10.5mm fisheye. Cheaper, like the AIS or the really old one that I got, which is basically impossible to find. Forget about that one with the built-in filters in it. So no, this is not true. FX lenses are not more expensive. They're really not that much bigger. They're not. I mean, the 1755 2.8, that's a honking ass lens. I mean, it's just a big old lens. Sorry. Yes, obviously the glass has to be bigger to have a larger circle of projection to cover the full frame sensor. Technically, it is the case of the 17 to 55 2.8, all but ultra wide. Basically, 85% of the range and 85% of the aperture of the 17 to 55 2.8, for example, will work fine in non-crop mode on a full frame camera, Nikon. Yes, that's the case, and you won't even notice any vignetting. The circle of projection is actually significantly large enough on that lens to allow that to be used on a full frame camera. So yeah, get that notion out of your head that FX lenses are more expensive. Now, if you just ignore all the lenses that are, 300mm tube, none of those lenses were ever made for DX anyway. If Nikon tomorrow said, screw it, we're not making any more of our DX lenses, there would be a bunch of dumb, meaning you people that, I'd love to mention the people. I would love to mention the people that would piss and moan, and their diapers would get wet. Oh my God, they're gonna stop making DX lenses. What are we gonna do? And I would be like, shut the F up. I mean, who gives a damn? I mean, there's only a few DX lenses that are even worth owning. 1755, 10.5mm, the 35mm 1.8. There's a zoom that's like the 18 to 300. What's the other one? The 40 millimeter is basically a vlogging lens. That's okay, still not worth owning. Nikon doesn't make many DX lenses for a reason. There's some schmucks over on a rumor site, and they're all having a hissy fit, and they're just all, just not too intelligent. Let's just put it that way. It doesn't matter. Your DX camera doesn't need a damn DX lens. Just to slap a full frame lens on there, and people will say, well, if to get the Nikon needs to make like a 8 millimeter to, because I want something that's a wide equivalent of like a 15 to 30 or 12 to 24 on a, that's the reason full frame cameras exist, for God's sakes. Bokeh, the actual depth of field required to, for example, to get the equivalent of an 85 millimeter 1/8, you have to use a 56 millimeter. And I've done these tests at f1.4 or f1.2. I mean, that's really insane shallow depth of field. You also don't get the same compression if you frame the person the same. The compression is different. A 56 is a 56 is a 56. Just because the equivalency is 85 millimeter doesn't mean it's an 85 millimeter. But you also have to open the aperture up a lot wider. But that's the reason FX exists, for God's sakes. I mean, that and of course the magnification factor when it comes to actually making the print, but that doesn't really matter because the pixel pitch on most DX cameras is a lot higher than on FX, so you have more translational data per square millimeter. But this notion that, FX lenses are more expensive than DX is absolute bullshit. Just the opposite is the case. Why? Because there's tons and tons, decades after decade after decade, of full-frame lenses out there that are insanely cheap, and they're all over the damn place, and they're a lot cheaper than all these DX lenses that Nikon peddles to you. So if you get a DX camera, get this crap, flush it out of your brain that you need to buy DX lenses, because that crap is just crap. It's just flat-out crap. And if Nikon stopped making DX lenses tomorrow, the only people that would have a hissy fit and run around like Chicken Little are a bunch of morons. And I know who those morons are. A couple of them are even famous. No, I don't mean on YouTube. I mean somebody else. A few other people. They're complaining like, Nikon don't make enough DX lenses. And I'm looking at that person like, God, people think this guy actually has credibility. He doesn't have any. I mean, he just doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Jesus. I don't know where they dig these people up. But anyway, so that's the long answer to a very short question. How's that saying go? Take a long walk off of a short pier. And I think some people have told me that in the past. Many people, I believe. So anyway, that's the answer to that stuff. Okay, bye. Ba-da-ba-da.